everybody. We're here today with Kate Parkhomenko from Parkhomenko team. Thank you so much for inviting me over and spending the time to answer all the questions I have for you today.
Hi, guys. I'm here to assist and I'm here to answer any of the questions you might have. It's a pleasure.
Let's start with a basic question. What truly real estate market in Canada is? Since people that reach out to us are usually newcomers, it's important to explain to them what is the difference between US market, Europe market, and Canadian market. How come everybody trying to look for investment here in Canada?
It's a great question. The Canadian real estate market has shown resilience and steady growth over the years, attracting investors and immigrants alike. Several key components make Canada an appealing immigration destination compared to the USA, Europe, and other regions. Stability and safety, Ivana. Canada is renowned for its political stability, safety, and inclusive society, which appeals to individuals seeking a secure environment to their families and investments. It's actually also quality of life. Canada offers a high quality of life with excellent healthcare and educational systems, vibrant cities, diverse cultural experiences, and abundant natural beauty, such as parks and lakes. It's also a strong economy. The Canadian economy is robust and diverse, providing ample opportunities for employment, entrepreneurship, and economic stability. Immigration policies. Canada has relatively accessible immigration pathways, such as the express entry system and provincial nominee programs, making it attractive for skilled workers, entrepreneurs such as myself, and you, and investors to obtain permanent residencies. Real estate investment. The real estate market in Canada, especially in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, has seen consistent growth, making it an attractive option for investors looking for stability and potential returns. Default rates are historically low in Canada.
Did I understand correctly? If we take Canada and US, it's fair to say that Canada is way more safer as for an investor or even a person who's moving here and investing into their residential property, commercial property, etc.
It's true. Like if you look as economy as a whole, like the 20-year trend has been on point and on a rise.
Interesting. So since our country is pretty big, we have different provinces. Could we ask you to elaborate what's the difference in market between British Columbia, Vancouver, Ontario, and maybe other provinces if you believe it's fair to speak about them?
Toronto and Vancouver has higher ROI but lower yield, as if you purchase it now, most of the investment won't cover the rental, but currently. However, Alberta, such as Calgary, has lower ROI but higher yield. No closing costs, no land transfer tax, no rental control, meaning you can literally kick anyone out without going through the LTB, which is Landlord-Tenant Board, and it's existing in Ontario.
Can we please ask you to tell us a little bit more what ROI really is for somebody who's totally new to Canada? It's even justifiable for me as well.
It just basically means return on investment and how fast can you get your money's worth and how fast is the growth.
So it's basically if you think 100,000, you invest it, you calculate the percentage from that 100,000, that's the number of your ROI. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So if we take Ontario, since we live here, we live in Toronto, which area we should concentrate in and how does it work? Like how does the realtor knows which area to look for a property?
You know, it's a good question. In real estate, we always say location, location, and one more time, location. In Ontario, certain areas tend to experience more robust growth and concentration due to various factors, such as economic development, infrastructure, job opportunities, and lifestyle appeal. The GTA, encompassing Toronto, meaning downtown, and also its surrounding areas, its prime economic hub in Ontario. Areas like Mississauga, Brampton, Markham, and Vaughan have seen substantial growth due to their thriving economies, diverse job opportunities, and vibrant cultural scenes. We also have added Aurora to the list, that's as of late, as its amazing council who allows continued development and attracts new families with amazing price point, strong community and amenities, recreational parks and facilities, and a steady appreciation of market values. Numbers speak for themselves. It also has close proximity to Toronto with a centralized GO station.
Is it a rumor or there's actually a logic in the fact that I heard many times that you take Toronto downtown and whenever you move north, that's how the growth goes as well? Or that's a total rumor and has no logic in it and you just go city by city and their own economy, like you explained to us?
Yeah, first of all, I didn't name all the locations. That was just the GTA I was talking about. But, some people, there's been a trend lately, like in 10 years of time, where people have been moving up north, buying much cheaper properties for the money that they have. And that way, the growth was there. So it sort of meant like flipping the properties and flipping their money and investing new and new. But nowadays, I would say it doesn't work like that. It really depends on the region where you centralize. And we're going to talk about some more cities. For example, Waterloo region, known as Silicon Valley of the North. Waterloo includes cities like Kitchener and Cambridge. It's a hotspot for technology and innovation. It's home to prestigious universities and tech companies, fostering a dynamic economy. I bet you didn't know that.
No, I never knew about the school or university they have there. That's
Hamilton, positioned near the GTA, Hamilton has experienced growth due to its relatively more affordable housing options compared to Toronto. It offers a mix of urban amenities and access to natural landscapes. And of course, Niagara region, with its picturesque landscapes and proximity to U.S. border, the Niagara region has seen growth in tourism and housing development. Nevertheless, and one more option, I promise Barrie region is appealing due to economic growth, affordability, and proximity to the water. Lake Simcoe, I'm sure you heard.
So let's imagine we have new families coming to Canada. Let's say it's in Ontario. How do we know which client is a residential purchaser and who is an investor? The feeling that I get from the people that I meet who comes to Canada, that sometimes people don't know themselves what they want, and are they planning to invest? Are they buying for themselves? How do you deal with this? How does your team prepares and clean their mind?
First of all, welcome to Canada. There might be differences in how these two types of buyers approach financing, taxes, and legal consideration. For instance, investors may be more focused on tax implications, aka capital gain tax, property management, and cash flow projections. Capital gains mean 50% of the profit from the sale of your property is taxable. We have a new anti-flipping tax was implemented just recently. The new anti-flipping tax rule means profits made off properties that are sold within 365 days of owning them will be taxed as a business income. Can you imagine? Which means this will count as 100% of profit, and that is taxable. The new vacant home tax. The vacant home tax is 1% of the current value assessment CVA, and it applies to Toronto homes deemed vacant for over 6 months in the previous year. That's because we had so many foreign investors come by. They bought the properties up, the value has risen, and then all these properties are standing on the market vacant, and people need somewhere to live. So hence, we have all these taxes. I mean, we have them for now, and it's implemented, but we don't know. The new government comes in, and suddenly they're not there.
So let's say we have these two families coming. How can we give them basic education, what to read, where to look, so they at least understand what they like and what new questions they might have for us?
I would say Realtor.ca or House Sigma is an amazing jump board to start with, but for professional advice, it's better to contact Parkhomenko team and browse through Parkhomenko.ca for the latest listings. We have blog posts and news and so on.
Do you think we can send the links to our clients along with our little interview and questionnaire so they can start their own research for the start?
Yes, of course. Based on their budget, they can always look up those listings. And our MLS system, which is more private, it has like a 1-day delay between public system, which is Realtor.ca. Some people don't know that because we have a constant update, which is a 24-hour update. And as long as they write up the MLS number, we can just search it up and make appointments through the office, and available for appointments anytime, anywhere.
Kate, you answer so many questions and give us so much information about what the Canadian real estate market is. But I'm sure there's also different purposes for the purchase. So I was hoping we can speak about different reason to actually do purchase real estate. It could be a commercial purchase, it could be a rental. If you can share some information, please.
I would love to. Primary residence, there is rental income, appreciation over time, portfolio diversification, as it provides an alternative asset class that can balance risks associated with stocks, bonds, or other investments. There is retirement planning. Real estate can also be purchased for commercial purposes, such as starting or expanding a business, developing properties for profit, or leasing properties for commercial use.
As we know, there's different type of real estate investments. There's industrial, commercial, rental, and residential. Could you please tell us what is industrial real estate and who is the specific investor who should concentrate his energy on this type of purchase?
Well, industrial real estate comprises properties used for manufacturing, warehousing, also logistics and storage. It's attractive for steady demand and long-term tenants and stable income. Investors seeking consistent rental income, diversification, and market stability often invest in industrial properties. This includes institutional investors, high net worth individuals with a lot of money, experienced real estate investors, and developers with expertise in commercial spaces. So you got to know what you're doing.
We also have a commercial real estate, and I'm always getting confused to understand the difference between commercial and industrial. And also, if we could share data and statistics about for 10, 20 years, what have been happening in Canada and actually see the numbers.
Commercial real estate in Canada has shown significant growth in major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal and Calgary. Mixed-use developments blending residential, retail, and office spaces have risen. Technology integration, changes in office dynamics, and adaptation in the retail sector has shaped the market as a whole. Advancement in technology have influenced commercial real estate with a focus on smart buildings, energy efficiency, and sustainability. These features have become increasingly important for tenants and investors alike, so they came together. Commercial real estate establishes positive yield, but higher ROI, more sound financing. Cap rates are about 7 to 12%. In fact, residential, however, has higher ROI. Commercial averages about 7.5% growth annually with positive yields, outspacing traditional dividends, excludes office space. So not enough for the office space, but everything else works. Whatever I said.
You're touching so many points to think about. You're like opening my mind today that real estate is actually, it's diversify, as you say, with everything else that's happening
The best
in the
investment
city.
out there, and I think that's why we're gathered today. So we want to just be more specific and pinpoint each little point.
Since I can say that I know you a little bit, and I'm shortly getting to the favorite topic of yours, I believe, and that's pre-construction projects. I know it's your big thing. I know you have, like, you get a spark for it. So if you can share some information, what's happening, how do they plan this, your some favorite projects and so on.
Yeah, you know what? Pre-construction is my baby. In fact, I love real estate in any way or shape or form. But throughout the years, we have gained such a great exposure to marketing companies and builders. And here we are today holding platinum access. Investing in pre-construction offers the flexibility to invest gradually without immediate mortgage commitments. Deposits typically range from 10 to 25% of the actual purchase price. Low-rise developments are usually finished in about 2 to 3 years, while high-rise condos can take 4 to 6 years to complete. which gives us enough time for appreciation. Ta-da-da-da-da! Within the time of completion, you're able to close on the property. You can rent it out with us. You can assign the unit. We help 360 degrees. The assignment of a pre-construction property involves the original buyer selling the rights to buy the property to someone else before it's built, actually. The new buyer takes over the purchase agreement and becomes the owner once the property is completed. We are cultivated enduring partnership with marketing companies, like I said, and developers, granting our clients exclusive early access, which is super important word, early, to pre-construction properties across the GTA. This includes not only local developments, but also offshore projects like in Tulum, Spain, Costa Rica, and the Dominican Republic. We got it all, first access.
I think we spent a lot of time speaking about pre-construction because getting back to the new families that arrive, not all of them have a status. And I know you always speak about the fact that while they're getting their immigrational status, they might make this initial investment, 10 to 25%, as you said. And when they have to close the deal, that's when they usually probably have their status, which makes the whole thing a perfect case scenario for a newcomer.
Again, if they're on work permit, yes, we have exceptions, but with the new foreign buyer ban, we're not allowed to do it. The new thing these days, right now, the whole rules have changed. So now the builders and developers would require social insurance number, and they would have to know that these people actually already hold the status. But before, when we were working together, it was completely different. So now
Much easier.
It was much easier. But I mean, again, this ban, it's here now, and its official ending point would be 2 years. So if the government switches, the new election comes around, and these rules have changed, then we might see, foreign buyers come back to the city and new allowance in place.
Or we can also speak to the legal representative about purchasing under corporations. But I think there's more questions about that.
I think we're going to cover in the next blog, because right now we're talking about more of a commercial real estate. But yeah, there are ways for you to purchase. We just have to find our ways around it.
So let's speak about who really a realtor is. I know it might sound as a naive question, but I think for somebody who's new to Canada, they don't know that we actually have a problem with this question. There's lots of people that long time ago got their real estate license, do not practice real estate, but whenever somebody reaches out to them, they decide to buy together, and it's usually ending not really well. So could you please tell us the characteristics that people should really look for in a realtor, and why do they need to use a realtor? What's the benefit?
I think it's a good question. A lot of my friends became realtors just for the sake of buying their own property, okay, and save on commission, and that way it's easier for them. But to sustain a realtor license, I mean, you still got to pay the fees. There's TREB, there's RICO insurance, and so on. To answer your question, a buyer or investor might seek a realtor's expertise for navigating the complexities of the real estate market, accessing a wider range of properties, leveraging negotiation skills, and benefiting from insights into local market trends and property values. We have to know what's going on today. We have to have insider knowledge, experience. We have 15 to 20 years in the business, ongoing support. So we have to provide property management, and that's part of our service. We're also 100% committed, transparent, and honest. We have a connecting circle of other professionals, such as lawyers, accountants, mortgage brokers. That's a whole group, of people. We also have social media presence, capability of negotiation, which has to be strong, and we have to know how to migrate risks.
Thank you for answering that. I consider myself pretty lucky to be one phone call away if I need to ask you and listen to your advice. But let's speak and explain about how can a good realtor who has the experience and love their job can help our clients, our potential newcomers, to reach their goals, their financial goals, their real estate goals.
It's experience coupled with market awareness, providing diversified portfolio. Never put your eggs in one basket. Our team specializes in all sorts of real estate, aka residential, commercial, pre-construction. And by the way, to mind the real estate broker who is very good, they need to be available. And I say this from the bottom of my heart because I call some real estate brokers to make appointments and they're not answering. They're on vacation. It's a Sunday. They're with their kids. No, real estate is a 24-hour thing and you have to breathe real estate.
You and your team have been doing this for a very long time. Could you share the time or the reason where you had to say your client, this is not the time to buy, or this location is not the time to consider? Give us like a deep experience from your real estate experience.
I think at the bottom of the day, honest advice is crucial. You have to be realistic. You have to be real. Buyer's market and seller's market is always different. Unfavorable market conditions you have to look out for. During a seller's market or when property values are inflated beyond realistic expectations, a broker should always caution clients against buying a potentially inflated price or in a declining market overall. It's also overstretching financially if a client's financial situation or credit worthiness doesn't align with the property's price. We have to look at the budget or mortgage terms. If the property has severe structural problems, we hire a home inspector for that. That will require extensive and costly repairs.
So we spoke about risk factors when purchasing real estate, but could we be more specific what to look out for? What to really not get yourself in trouble?
Yes, of course. Potential risks, so when buying real estate in Canada, include market volatility, economic shifts, interest rate changes, such as what we're experiencing today, legal regulations such as foreign buyer ban that we talked about earlier, for example. Again, that could change over time. And unexpected maintenance costs, property-specific issues, rental market fluctuation. We had a rental market just back in the day, and the comparatively lower liquidity or real estate assets compared to other investments. Over the past 2 decades, the real estate market generally saw positive growth, like I said, positive trend, with occasional price adjustments due to short-term spikes. These adjustments didn't significantly impact long-term investment prospects or overall economic affordability. While fluctuations occur, factors like population growth, immigration, and housing demand continue to make real estate an attractive long-term investment.
This next question I have for you, I'm kind of worried to hear the answer. We know it's not the best time for Canadians right now and the whole real estate market as well as the whole economy. What is your opinion? What's going on? Where are we going with all the rates? And what is your projection?
There has been a price adjustment in certain regions due to overpricing and rapid growth. High interest rate affect borrowers with variable rate mortgages, possibly raising the monthly payment. Currently, it is a buyer's market, allowing negotiation for favorable deals, which is good for the buyers. Many buyers are cautious, however, causing market uncertainty. As interest rates decrease, buyers may become active, leading to surge in buying and sellers increasing prices. And we'll see multiple offer situation again soon. So it's going to be like this. As soon as the rate drops, there's going to be like this leaving train and everybody is going to be running to catch this train. So whoever is smart right now, and I see some amazing deals, they're really jumping on the market and, using this scenario towards their advantage.
So I guess we have a bright future in front of us.
We
pretty
do.
much.
We're still in a positive scenario. It's just like I said, there has been rapid growth in different areas where, 2 years back, we've seen a profit appreciation of 50%, 50. And I mean, that's incredible to think of. It means like a person purchased a condo of 300,000 and suddenly his condo is 600,000, which is 100% growth. And of course, that cannot be sustainable, that cannot continue. And so we did have Bank of Canada come in and government regulations and such.
So we'll treat it as a good thing that happened. I would like to spend a little bit of time on closing costs. People that come to Canada, and I know this for a fact because I spend many, many, many hours of conversation with them, they tell us that the challenge of closing the deal is absolutely different in other countries than in Canada. Maybe US is similar, but it's a surprise for them that they need to pay closing costs, that they can close the deal in 3 to 6 months if they need to. All these legality and what we are used to, they don't know. Could we summarize the chain of providing an offer and close the deal?
The closing costs in Canada for real estate transactions include land transfer tax and lawyers' fees and title insurance and home inspection and appraisal fees and mortgage insurance and obviously utility fees, HST or GST, depending if you're buying this property for an investment purpose or for your own use. I know you're going to ask me about the numbers, and we're all very specific. Usually for some of these costs, it would be a calculation towards the statement of adjustment, which will be provided by the lawyer of their choice.
So just to count everybody involved in closing the deal. So we obviously need a good specialist, good realtor. We have one here. Then we need a lawyer who's going to close the deal. And then we also, for those that need financing, we would need a mortgage agent. And then we would need a home insurance specialist. Also, the appraisal is done through the realtor as well. So all this team of people, I know you guys have, if you can share a little bit
We
more.
do. We have a whole team of people. Like I said, we've been doing this for over 20 years, and we always have somebody reliable. If one is not available, we direct it to another person. And this whole team of people, they communicate with each other on closing. And by the way, you were asking about appraisal. Appraisal is provided by the mortgage broker because they have to assign for it and they have to schedule it. And each bank has their own appraiser where he would come in and do that.
Did I miss anybody else in this whole circle of closing the deal?
I think it's hard to estimate the calculation based on the purchase price, but I would always advise the client that in Toronto, we have double tax. And if you're moving towards the north, the tax is less. It's a single tax. And for any more detailed calculation, I would still advise them to call the lawyer and then make a specific calculation for that particular property.
Kate, can we speak about taxes for real estate and specifically the difference for taxation for that somebody who has a status in Canada comparing to those that don't? What do they need to know? The basic line, and of course, they need to have an accountant, as we know. But from your experience, what important information do we have to provide today?
I think we touched base on this topic already in the previous blogs, and it is a hurtful topic because our tax laws literally change day by day. I feel like even some of the lawyers and accountants are confused to the point because it's just so rapid. The changes are rapid and we have to educate ourselves again and again. Like, for example, residents. Residents are taxed on their worldwide income, including income from real estate, both in Canada and abroad. Capital gains from the sale of principal residence are usually tax exempt for residents, but you must pay 50% capital gains on your income properties. For non-residents, where a non-resident sells Canadian real estate, the purchaser is required to withhold 25% of the gross purchase price and remit this to the CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, and do that as a withholding tax. The foreign buyers, as you know, they're banned right now to purchase.
And it's all over Canada or just?
Yes.
So that's as of October, correct?
Yes. So this is something new, and we're still kind of experiencing a downfall from there because we have a lot of immigration come in and obviously investing in Canada, even from the abroad. So this 25% withholding tax, it would apply, to those exempt from this foreign buyer ban, which I think we talked about previously with you, some of the Ukraine population that was coming here. And I think some of the people that are currently under work permit have an exemption as well. Again, this would be directed to the lawyer to discuss with if you're able to purchase something like this.
How about purchasing real estate under corporation? What do we know about it?
Actually, one of the main advantages is the ability to protect personal assets from liability. By owning a property through a holding company, the company's assets, such as the property itself, are separate from the assets of the individuals or business owner. Setting up a basic corporation can actually cost between $1,500 to $2,500 in legal fees. And on top of that, there are yearly expenses for legal and accounting services. If you own a rental property in Canada, you might face high taxes. For instance, as a corporation, you could pay up to 50% tax on rental income and 25% tax on property gains. However, owning the property personally could result in similar tax rate for high-income individuals, but without the corporate setup hassles. So that's the difference. Yet there's a twist. If you're into buying and selling properties for profit, like flipping properties, if you flip a property for sale instead of renting it out, it's seen as a business and taxed as such. The tax you owe depends on your income and where you live. For instance, personally flipping a property might cost around 50% in tax, where a corporation's business income tax can be lower, ranging from 9 to 15%. It really depends on the province, though.
And what about closing the deal if you don't have a status and if you're not a Canadian?
Again, we touched on this before. The regulations had come into force on January 1st, 2023, in tandem with the prohibition on the purchase of residential property by non-Canadians Act. They're effective for 2 years, however, like we talked, and prohibit non-Canadians from purchasing residential property. This might change with the new election. Ta-da!
However, let's make an important accent on the fact that you can still continue purchasing commercial real estate if you don't have a status in Canada, and there's no new regulations or laws about that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Another thing to elaborate on is a Canadian guarantor. For those people that don't have a status but do have Canadian family members or friends, they can consider to purchase under a guarantor who is a Canadian citizen.
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. And that's a way to get into the Canadian real estate market, right? To have a family member here, or maybe to have a friend who can set up a corporation, or have that buddy who is already into investments and he's been doing it for quite some time. He knows the process. It will be even more helpful for that newcomer to, have somebody guide them through, not just the real estate broker, but somebody else, right? Like a separate entity. But everything has to be done through the lawyer, and all the facts have to be checked, and there has to be some sort of agreement in place between the two parties, right? So everything is legally plausible.
Yeah, to make it a smooth
to make it
transition.
official. We don't want any surprises in the end, and we don't want to make $1 million and then that guarantor just kind of like runs away.
It's silly for me to ask this final question, but do you consider real estate a great investment, and your reasons why?
We are real estate investors ourselves and have seen some great returns for ourselves and clients, and everybody's been happy. Real estate can be a strong investment due to its tangible nature, potential for value appreciation, rental income, and ability to leverage borrowed money. Yet it's not without challenges such as lower liquidity. Time is a factor, maintenance costs, market fluctuations, and initial high costs and risks. Who doesn't risk? Everybody risks. Whether it's the best investment depends on personal goals and risk tolerance. By diversifying across various assets is often wise for balanced returns. And I always say this, it's better to buy real estate yesterday, buy real estate and wait.
Kate, thank you so much for having me, for a lovely cup of coffee and lovely conversation. I learned so much, and whoever's watching us, I'm sure it's going to be productive. We're waiting for their additional questions. As you mentioned earlier today, we will provide all the information they might need and some questions for them to dive deep into the search. So it was absolute pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. I really appreciate your time as well, Ivana. And, I'm here. My team is available to answer any of your questions or your clients' questions, whatnot. And, call the Parkhomenko team. You can always reach us at the website, parkhomenko.ca, or go to our social media, parkhomenko.ca, Caprada, sign up for latest updates.
Super. Thanks, everybody.